Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
People, keep your cameras on first. Okay. Has anybody prepared assignment on narrative style? Does anybody have any story to tell? Can anybody recap what do you understand by narrative style of writing? Hello? What is narrative style? Can anybody give an example? Can anyone tell a story in narrative style? Any book which you have, any story which you have read? Any life? Any experience? Hello? Am I audible? Why are you not responding? Hello?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
Please respond. You're just looking at me and not responding. You have to be responsive in class, no? When I'm asking a question, say yes, say no. Respond. I see people just sitting, not responding at all. Only this Nikki is responding. Okay. Can you please tell me what is, and let me tell you one thing. अगर आप क्लास में पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं, I'm speaking in हिंदी. अगर आप क्लास में पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं तो क्लास पार्टिसिपेशन का आपको मार्क्स मिलता है ऑन अ डेली बेसिस. Students who are asking questions, students who are answering questions, students who are responding, they are getting plus marks मिलता जाता है उन लोगों को. And this will be graded in your added in your final exam. इसलिए कह रहे हैं कि क्लास पार्टिसिपेशन बहुत लोग का 0 है. They have never responded. CIMAGE में CP कुछ होता है. CP मतलब class participation. Now, can anyone recap what we did in the last class?
Ma'am, we have completed the 4 styles of writing, and you have given a brief description about everything in a detailed way, about all the narrative, the argumentative, informative, one more, and descriptive as well.
I gave you the details of, I just introduced, I did not give the details.
Ma'am, you gave the details of informative.
Yeah, one was just informative. Did I do narrative?
Ma'am, you gave a short brief on that each and every, the remaining topics.
Okay. But you have to be receptive in class. When I say narrative means telling a story, I asked, do you have any story to tell? Any real story, any fiction, any story book which you have read, any lesson which you have read in your English class in school? Stories are stories. So you can only learn by real life experience. The narrative style of writing is telling a story, whether it's a real story or a fiction or an imaginary story. Story is a story. So let us take a look in detail about the narrative style. Pay attention, write down the points and come up with presentations. When you giving the feedback, it is understood that people have understood, because only then you can help the teacher to move ahead. If I'm asking you what is narrative, if all are quiet, what will happen? I cannot move on to teaching anything else, isn't it? इसलिए कह रहे हैं कि बी पार्टिसिपेटिव इन क्लास और आपको मार्क्स भी मिल रहा है. जैसे सीपी अजरिया भद्रा, शी स्टार्टेड, so she is getting plus every time she participates. Each day उसका प्लस 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 जा रहा है. जैसे आपका अटेंडेंस होता है ना, your attendance, so there is also a sheet for class participation. If your name is there, CP. Many people have got 0, never participated in class. So get this straight, whenever you are participating, you are getting +1, +1, +1, right? So maybe 4 writing styles. Expository we finished, and we were just about to do the narrative style of writing. So what is the checklist of narrative style? Narratives means telling a story. So narrative style checklist, what should be included in narrative styles? There has got to be a beginning. So when you start the beginning, some things which should be in your mind. So the first thing which should be in your mind is that you have to attract the reader. So you tell yourself, I have included a hook to grab the reader's attention. It means your title is so good that people will immediately start reading your article, start reading your story. So this is also called a hook. This is also called arousing interest in an idea that arouses interest in the reader, to grab the reader's attention. So what is one thing, the first and foremost, in narrative style checklist, we should attract the reader's attention. Then what do you do? You describe the setting, where this is going, where this is happening, the layout, setting. Describe the first, attract attention of the reader. Number 2, describe the setting. And third, you are going to introduce every character. Whether there are 2 characters or 4 characters or 10 characters, you include the characters. So when you're telling a story, when you are narrating, when you are making a presentation, you have to tell whom are you talking about. So this is the beginning. What is the beginning? Attract the reader. Describe the setting, where it is happening. What is the setting like? So if I and the character. So let me give you an example. For example, I'm trying to hook, I'm trying to grab the attention of the reader to read the story. I have to come up with a certain heading, the story about, that immediately attracts attention. It can be behind the closed doors, beyond time. The beginning can be it's now or never. Now or never. अब now or never आप जानने के लिए जानना चाहेंगे कि किसके बारे में बात हो रही है, किस चीज के बारे में डिस्कस हो रही है. The story can start with the topic can be the lost hope. Birds in a cage. So they all arouse interest. What is this story about? Now, whatever topics I've told you, there are no stories. ऐसा कोई story है नहीं, but I can create some stories like about. The last hope. The masterpiece. What is the masterpiece? You would really be interested to know what it's all about. This is the beginning. No? So I've grabbed the attention, your attention. Yeah, the masterpiece. Beyond time. Beyond black waters. कुछ भी हो सकता है. The last leaf. The story itself was so exciting. The last leaf, L-E-A-F, आखिरी पत्ता. So this was such a beautiful story which I read. The moment I saw the name, which story, I did not see who has written this, but the last leaf, I was immediately attracted to the topic, and I sat down to read it. So the topic should be as such that it should arouse interest in the reader. And describe the setting. Describe the setting, what it's all about, what my theme, what my topic is talking about. What am I talking about? So in the last leaf, the topic was about a patient in the hospital who had lost all hope. And then there was, in narratives, there are a lot of descriptives also. This person was young, but then he was looking out of the window and there was a plant. And every day, the patient saw that the leaves were falling. एक एक करके पत्ते गिर रहे थे उस प्लांट के. And then he told his near and dear ones, I will be alive only, I will die when the last leaf falls. I will die that day. He connected his thought process. जब तक पत्ते उस पेड़ में हैं, तभी तक मैं जिंदा हूं. The moment, the day when all the leaves will fall, I will die. So this was the talk of, everybody was talking about this. And then of course, it was so difficult to see that person because he made it so real. Every day he became sicker, weaker, losing all hope. So this, what I'm doing, I'm describing the setting. So the setting is all about a person in a hospital, a sick person who connected his feelings with the falling of the leaf of a plant. And then introducing the character, I already introduced the character, a young man who was terribly sick. And he thought that he is going to die with each falling leaf, making him go deeper into his thoughts and a little more upset each day, physically exhausted. So this was the beginning. You introduce the character. And then the middle part. The middle part is all about using the five senses to create an atmosphere. So the creating the five senses, like whatever he see, whatever he felt, whatever he touched, seeing, hearing. So all the five senses are included in the atmosphere. To create an atmosphere, you have to include what people thought, what people saw, what people heard, what people felt. And then there was some action. And what was this? What was this action? The rising action was people were trying to console him. It's not as such. And introducing a problem or event. So this was the problem that he thought that with each dying, with each falling leaf, he's getting closer and closer to that. So this was the problem, right? And then the ending. And then I'm trying to resolve the problem. What was the problem which was resolved? The problem of the dying man connecting his feelings with the falling of the leaves. And then there was an old doctor who was also a painter and who was living just on the top floor, and he knew what was happening. And one night, when there was only one leaf left, how did he solve the problem? It was raining, it was stormy, and in a dark, stormy, rainy night, he goes up, he goes down, and he paints a leaf. And it was such a beautiful leaf that you could feel that, no, this is a masterpiece. So this was the masterpiece about. So he painted a leaf, which was so real. And what he did, he tied it on the plant when the last leaf fell off. He knew that there was only one leaf left, and everybody knew that what's going to happen. They were so apprehensive. They were afraid, what is going to happen tomorrow? So in the night, when everybody was asleep, he painted a leaf and he tied it on the plant. The morning sun shining bright and gold, the leaf was dancing in the sun, fresh, beautiful, the beautiful masterpiece of that painter. Looking out of the window, the patient said, the leaf is still there. And I think I'm already beginning to feel better. The second day passed. The leaf was still there. But then, little did he know that the painter who had painted the leaf had died. Because he was there up all night painting the leaf. He was found dead in the morning. So this is the story. Resolving the problem, using powerful words and adjectives. And then I have included dialogue. So I did not tell you the dialogues, but then there were dialogues, right? So this is a masterpiece story which I've read and which has stayed with me, I don't know, for so long. So whenever I ask, hello? Are you in the class or are you outside? Rupesh Kumar. I have given you.
मेरा तो म्यूट है मैम, मैंने नहीं बोला।
किसी ने कुछ कहा, I do not like it. आपको जब हम कुछ पढ़ा रहे होते हैं, I always give you live examples so that you understand. So a narrative style of writing, I told you the beginning, I told you the middle, I told you the ending. Right? How should it be? And then comes the editing. When this story was already done, this story was already edited, published, and it came to us. So when you're writing, you need to do, you follow all the 3 steps, and the last is editing. Editing means you have to check. You have to check for spellings and punctuations. And most importantly, you have to be correct in your grammar. Language has got to be of prime importance when you're telling and when you're narrating, whether it's oral or whether it's written. Here we're talking about writing styles. So you need to be very particular about your language, your grammar. So when you're writing, you can use the dictionary, you can use the web, you can use the thesaurus to find synonyms, to use words which you really want to use. And believe me, when you start writing something, you also learn a lot. When you are crawling the web, you are looking for a lot of words, synonyms, and finally you see that yes, my story makes sense. The story जो हमने आपको बताया था, that story makes sense, and it does leave an effect, an impact on you. So the ending was, the writer is a very famous writer. His endings have always had a climax. Most people knew that the climax must be the young boy who saw the leaf and he did not die. But then there was something more, no? There was something that the painter, the person who painted the leaf had died. This was the climax. The story is always with a twist. And then it leaves you like, oh my God, really? Oh, that was really beautiful. And then you feel sad. The person was such a good painter. The leaf which he painted was almost like real. So this is the narrative style of writing. So you have to include all these things. When I'll get back to you after 10 minutes, I will ask you to give me an example of any story which you have read. Give me a story, give me the beginning, give me the name, choose a name which is attractive, and then introduce setting, introduce characters, the problem, the solutions, and the ending with a twist or a climax. So check for spellings and punctuations, and use the web for synonyms to find out some more words, some better words. You will not be allowed if you are coming after a certain time. So guys will not be allowed. So I have checked my story. I've checked that my story makes sense. So yeah, stories should make sense. So narrative writing style tells a story. Real, it can be real. It can be fictional. I don't know. This whether this story is real or fiction, I don't know. But this story is really beautiful. So it can be real, it can be fictional. Whether or not the events described really happened. So this type of writing is all about presenting the story in a way that readers will enjoy and understand. The events don't have to happen in chronological order, but they must capture and hold the reader's attention. Now here are the types of, what are the first question was, what do you understand by narrative writing style? What is narrative writing style? What is the checklist of writing style, narrative writing style? Second question, what are the types of writings? What are the types of narrative writing? So narrative writing can take many forms. It can be your own story, such as a memoir, something which you remember from the past, from your school, from your whatever, anything which you remember, your story. Like my first day at school, the day when I was very happy, the day when I graduated from school, first day at CIMAGE College. So it is all there, stored up in your memory. The day when everything went wrong, the day when everything got right, the day I got up late, and everything went topsy-turvy. It can be just about anything. The saddest day of my life, the happiest day of my life, it can be just about anything. It can also be the story of a historical event or a work of fiction. The story of any historical event. The history of Patliputra. The old Patna. It can be just about anything. Any historical event. The life of Babur, Akbar. The life of Noor Jahan, the life of Shah Jahan. Some events, or such as a short story or novel. It can be event, work, or fiction, or it can be a short story or novel. Like today, what I told you, what I narrated was a story written by. Hello. The story, the last leaf was written by Sydney Potter. I did not write the story. So this story was written by Sydney Potter, and which students have read. I have asked them to read the story because it was so beautiful. Anecdotes. It can be, now what are the writing types of? Anecdote ho sakta hai. It can be an anecdote. And what is an anecdote? A short, interesting story about a real person or event. You may write down the, let me see you. Write down the definition of each of the, any words which you do not know. Right. I'll get back to you and I'll ask you questions. So it can be an anecdote, which means a short, interesting story about a real person or event. It can be novellas. Novellas are a short novel or a long short story. एक लंबी कहानी या एक छोटा एक short novel. Novellas. It can be novels. It can be oral history. Or you would like to know what is oral history? What do you understand by the term oral history? No? Guys, please respond. Do you not know? Say, I don't know. We don't know. But you know, if you can guess, you can guess. Kya hota oral history? What is the meaning?
Might be that some person is just reviving his past life. Like if someone, for example, that if a person is suffering from a bad thing all over the day, but after a few days when he become grown up man, he says his son or daughter that I have gone through this, then he's reviving his own old history, something like that.
No. Oral history means you are talking to people, getting to know their stories, you are interviewing people. Oral means oral. It can be anything with any collection of, it can be historical information. When you can use tape recorders, you can use YouTubes. You are listening to something and compiling. Recordings or interviews with people having personal knowledge of the past event. Supposing you're talking to your grandfather or father, and what happened during the struggle when India was struggling, they will tell you about it. No? You are interviewing something for some story, so you will get to know a lot of information by talking to them, by listening to them. You can compile a lot of information through YouTube, what and where and happened. So Ria, oral means always listening, talking, interviewing, right? It can be poems. Today I am asking you all to come. I'm allowing you to come. This is the last time, because I will not allow anybody to come 5 minutes after I start the class. I give you enough time to start, because I know you have back-to-back classes. My classes always start at 9:05, 9:07 as such. And even then you are coming late. Imagine coming at 9:42. This will not be taken. What is the point of coming to class? At the fag end of the class, खत्म हो रहा है तो अब आ रहा है. Only for attendance. What is the point of taking attendance? Thinking about attendance when you do not know what happened in the class. जो भी लेट आ रहे हैं, आज के बाद अलाउ नहीं किया जाएगा आपको. We're getting back. So narratives can be a type of oral history. Now, did you understand oral history, Ria? Since you asked me the question.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, what is it? When you listen to stories from people, जब तुम कहानियां सुनते हो किसी और से, किसी के बारे में, किसी इवेंट के बारे में, this is oral history. Right? Poems, you already know what poems are. So in poems also, the writer is trying to tell you a story. Do you remember any story, anybody? Let me get back to you. I want to make this class interactive, लेकिन class में आप जब तक बोलेंगे नहीं तो how will you improve? क्या किसी को कोई poetry याद है? Does anybody remember any poetry? Hindi, English, whatever. कैसे स्कूल में पढ़े हो कि पोएट्री नहीं याद है तुम लोगों को? Yes. Roll number 15. कोई पोएम याद है तुम्हें?
मैम हिंदी में याद है एक.
मैंने कहा ना कि हिंदी या इंग्लिश पोएम याद है कि नहीं, मैंने वो पूछा था.
मैम याद है.
याद है. क्या शीर्षक था? What was the title?
मैम खिलौने वाला.
तो ये पूरी कहानी थी ना पूरी पोएट्री में?
या मैम पोएट्री थी.
तुम क्या बता सकते हो कि इसमें क्या कहानी थी खिलौने वाले में? लाइन से याद है तुम्हें?
मैम पोएम याद है, मैं एक्सप्लेन कर सकता हूँ.
हाँ, तुम एक्सप्लेन करो, इसलिए कि हर पोएट्री भी एक कहानी ही होती है. तो आप बताइए, जैद बताइए आप कि क्या कहानी था इस खिलौने वाले में. When I want to listen to this story, ये खिलौने वाला क्या है?
ओके मैम, मैं पोएम सुनाऊं?
हाँ,
एक्सप्लेन करो मैम. जैसे ये था ना पोएम, वह देखो माँ आज खिलौने वाला फिर से आया है.
तो यहाँ पर क्या हुआ? The person is trying to introduce the character. वहाँ देखो, मतलब he's trying to set a scene कि वहाँ देखो. And the moment he say खिलौने वाला आया है, you picture a person with a lot of toys, huh?
Yeah, ma'am.
So this is the art of narrating. हाँ बताओ, और बताओ.
वह देखो माँ आज खिलौने वाला फिर से आया है, कई तरह के सुंदर सुंदर नए खिलौने लाया है. हरा हरा तोता पिंजड़े में, गेंद 1 पैसे वाली, छोटी सी मोटर गाड़ी है सरसर सर चलने वाली. गुड़िया भी है कई तरह के सुंदर खेल, चाबी भर देने से चलती भग भग करने वाली रेल.
हाँ, तो ये क्या बता रहा है? He is telling a story of that खिलौने वाला, जो उसके पास क्या क्या चीजें हैं. और ये इन्फ्लुएंस होता है, मतलब ये अंडरस्टूड होता है कि माँ देखो वो आया, मुझे भी चाहिए उसमें से कुछ चीजें. तो what is the problem? The problem is that the child has seen the person, the खिलौने वाला, and then he wants, ये अंडरस्टूड होता है कि ये उसकी माँ को रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा है कि वो उसको चाहिए, तभी तो वो पॉइंट आउट करता है कि माँ देखो फिर वो आया है, isn't it? So it also it creates also a story, and it tells you It gives you the character. Anybody else has any story? Any poetry? यहाँ मैं poetry के बारे में बात कर रही हूँ.
Yes, ma'am.
मानसी श्रीवास्तव, चलो. Tell me.
This poetry is written by me.
Okay. Very good.
The title of my poem is My Sunshine, My Father.
Okay. तो यहाँ तो My Sunshine आपने already create कर दिया है कि your father character भी आपने दे दिया. तो हाँ, ऐसे ही सीखेंगे आप. Narrative writing with examples, you can write your own poetry. It's always good to know examples, real life examples. किताब जैसे कि जरूर है, लेकिन किताब पढ़ोगे फिर तुम रियल लाइफ कुछ कर रहे हो, then of course understanding क्या होता है? 100% comprehension. You understand everything. Yes, Manchi. Yeah. So now,
Whenever I used to remember my happiness, I found you as my happiness. Whenever I used to remember my strength, I found you as my strength. Whenever I used to remember my childhood, I found you as my toys. Whenever I used to remember my school days, I found you as my first friend. You are not my shadow because shadow disappear in the darkness. You are my sunshine who always gives me the ray to success.
very good.
Whenever
Mansi. Yeah, continue.
Whenever I used to remember the best moment of my life, I found you as the reason of that moment to be best. Whenever I used to remember my dream, I found you as the reason of that dream. You are not my success, but without you, how can I found success?
How can I find success?
Yes, sir. How can I find it?
हाँ यार, अच्छी कविता लिखी हो, and yeah, I like your thought process. I like your huge respect for your father. That it should be your love and respect and your expectations. You always look up to your father. This is good. So this is like she is telling a story. It is a memoir also. Like अपनी कुछ आप बीती, अपना कुछ feeling वो बता रही है. So yeah, good. Anybody else can come up with an example of narrative style? आज निकिता क्यों शांत है?
Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
बाकी से क्या मैं बात करूं, उनको कैमरा ऑफ है तो मैं बात क्या करूं उनसे? मैं उन्हीं से बात करती हूँ जिनको मैं देख रही हूँ, जो मुझे देख रहे हैं. नहीं तो फिर आप बोलेंगे मैम तुम मेरे नाम ही नहीं लेती. हाँ, ऐसा भी मेरे पास आता है कंप्लेन. People who respond, they are remembered. अगर आप कैमरा बंद करके बैठेंगे तो the teachers will forget your faces. They will know your names, but शक्ल कैसी है पता नहीं, कभी और नहीं रहता है. हाँ, yes, Nikita, I want to give an example.
Yes, ma'am. Right now, I don't remember any poem.
ठीक है, अगर कहा जाएगा एग्जाम में लिखने के लिए.
No, ma'am. In next classes, I will
नेक्स्ट क्लास
prepare.
तो प्रेजेंटेशन है ही आप लोगों का. Let me finish with all the 4, and of course then there will be कुछ. Almost 37 कुछ बोलना चाह रहे हो क्या? Yes, I have given chances to people who want to speak.
No, ma'am.
कुछ बोलना है तुम्हें? नो मैम बोला था. ये नो मैम बोलने के लिए तुम कैमरे पे आई थी. चलो
मैम
क्या, चलो किसी ने कुछ कहा क्या? नो.
मैम मुझे एक नॉवेल याद है, मैं वो मतलब बताना चाहती हूँ. कैन आई?
कौन बोल रही है?
मैम 14.
चलो बोलो. आप आरती कुमारी, आप चलिए यहाँ बोलिए.
व्हाट मैम?
कंटिन्यू.
Yes, ma'am. The novel about three friends, three men in a boat is the title of the novel. This is written by William Wordsworth. There are 3 characters in the novel.
No. 3 Men in a Boat is written by Jerome K. Jerome.
Ma'am, can I tell in Hindi?
ठीक है. हाँ चलो.
यस मैम। तो मैम ये नॉवेल लिखा गया था जॉर्ज के द्वारा, जिसमें 3 फ्रेंड थे, उनके बारे में डिस्क्राइब किया गया था कि वो बोट से ट्रेवल कर रहे थे। और मैम जो जो मतलब बोट में उनके साथ होता है हैपन ट्रैवलिंग के दौरान, वो सारा डिस्क्रिप्शन था। मैम इसका सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग पोर्शन जो था उस नॉवेल का ये था कि मैम एट द एंड ऑफ द नॉवेल हमें ये पता चलता है कि एक जो कैरेक्टर था, 3 कैरेक्टर, वो ह्यूमन बीइंग नहीं था, वो कि एक पेट एनिमल था। दिस इज इंटरेस्टिंग व्हेन वी जब मैम हम लोग पूरे नॉवेल पढ़ लेते हैं ना, तो हमें यही लगता है कि जो उसमें एक 3 कैरेक्टर था जो नेम ऑफ ह्यूमन बीइंग, बट ऐसा नहीं होता। जब लास्ट में हम लोग एंड ऑफ द नॉवेल आते हैं, तब हमें ये जाकर पता चलता है कि जो 3 कैरेक्टर था वो एक पेट एनिमल का नाम था, जो कि बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग मतलब नॉवेल था।
हाँ, मुझे पता
Yes,
है इस नॉवेल के बारे में। और
yes,
3
ma'am.
महीने ने बोट वो लिखा हुआ है जेरोम का। और 3 महीने ने बोट आपके पाटलिपुत्र के सिलेबस में भी ये है, जेरोम का अंकल पॉजर हैंग्स अ पिक्चर। तो इस तरह की चीजें हैं। और हाँ, इंटरेस्टिंग तो है, विद ट्विस्ट है कि पता नहीं चला, बाद में पता चलता है कि दैट 3 मैन मतलब इसमें से एक पेट। चलो
Ma'am,
क्या?
ma'am, I want to explain. I want to give a poem. That poem I have studied on class 5. I remember that I don't know the complete view of that. I don't know the complete poem exact lines, but I still remember that it is a poem of a boy who was sitting under a tree, and he's telling to himself only that I never get what I want. What I want, I never get it. What I get, I didn't want it. This was
Okay.
the line of that poem that still reminds me of that class. So this is the
Okay.
poem, I think.
So it reminds you of that class. It means it has left a deep impact on your mind.
Yes,
And that
ma'am.
is that is why in school days literature is so important. You learn so much from other writers. You learn, you create. You learn to create. You learn to write. You learn to think. You learn to analyze. So literature reading is very good. If you keep on reading stories and books, it will you will be a better version of yourself. And you know it is so beautiful to learn, to read, to improve. Your objective should be how should we improve English. Well, एक ही बात ही है, पढ़ो, जितनी पढ़ोगे उतनी इम्प्रूव करोगे। तो ये राइटिंग स्टाइल जितने भी हैं वो तो बिल्कुल ही आपको इट इज गोइंग टू टेक यू टुवर्ड्स थ्रू योर लाइफ। Let me conclude this the narrative at least today. So narrative examples we are skipping because we have already seen this. So tips for writing. What is this? Now we are coming to how are you going to, who is doing this? Stop it. किसी ने कहा क्या कि एनोटेट कर सकते हो तुम? नहीं ना, डोंट डू इट। So some tips if you want to go ahead writing. So what will you include in writing a narrative style? If you're writing, keep your microphone muted. If you're writing a narrative, keep in mind that you are telling a story. Include details and information that will keep your reader engaged. Include all the pieces of the story. It should make sense. How did it start? What happened to make it exciting? How did it end? Know why you're telling the story. Even though the story is the purpose, keep your reason for telling it in mind. Keep the point of view consistent throughout the story. Stick to the story. Avoid extraneous details that will distract the reader. Do not put in so much of details that the writer will be distracted or disinterested. And if you are distracted, मतलब कि interest खत्म हो जाएगा तो आपको वो story, it is likely that they are not going to read your story. The next we are taking a look at, we'll do it in the next class, persuasive writing. Persuasive writing is that kind of writing when you when you share your point and you want the reader to agree with you, like when you're writing a proposal, it has to be a proposal. When you're writing a cover letter, it has to be persuasive. You have to convince. You have to be at your convincing best when you're writing a persuasive style of writing. Whether you are writing a proposal or a cover letter or anything which needs a favorable response from the reader. Persuasive is the word which comes from persuade. A request. Right. We'll do this in the next class. We use persuasive writing style to share our point of view with others. And we want the reader to agree with us. Whatever we share, you want the reader to agree with us. So persuasive writing is convince the reader. Convince the reader. Yes. Hello? Yeah. Somebody raised her hand. Mansi, did you?
Yes, ma'am. वो गलती से हो गया।
अच्छा ठीक है। तो हम लोग करेंगे we have already finished expository and narrative and we are going to do persuasive and then the descriptive style. ये जो 4 styles है ना, these 4 styles will help you in your career, will help improve your communication skills. Assignments आपको मिलते ही रहते हैं. Assignments दी है कि make an assignment of writing styles, जिसमें आपको define करना पड़ेगा all the 4 writing styles with an example.
चलो उसके घर पे जा रहा हूँ तो उसको दे देता हूँ.
ठीक है, असाइनमेंट समझ रहे हैं ना आप लोग? जो ऑलरेडी पढ़ चुके हैं उसका बनाना शुरू कर दीजिए. ठीक है, you have finished expository and you have finished narrative style. You start making your assignment. Okay, start making and start submitting. So you're getting, for one assignment you're asking for 20 points, 20 marks. ठीक है, and assignment हाँ
कॉपी में या फिर फाइल
आप बनाए तो पहले, it should be handwritten. Make it in a stick file. When you come, you can submit it. अपने पास रखो. ठीक है, which will also help you to make a presentation. If I ask you to make a presentation on writing styles, you need to make a presentation. Define all the 4 and then choose any one to detail it. Right? You understand?
Yes.
तो असाइनमेंट क्या है, एक बार फीडबैक दे दीजिए. व्हाट इज द असाइनमेंट?
Define all the writing style with an example.
With an example. अभी आपको लिखना है राइटिंग स्टाइल पे. एक्सपोजिटरी एंड नरेटिव आप समझ चुके हैं. ठीक है, तो यू स्टार्ट making your assignments, and when you come back to college in offline, which probably I don't know, आप अपने पास रखिए, जब आप आएंगे तो हमको सबमिट कर दीजिएगा. ठीक है, that's it for today.